Friday, July 7th, 2017, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So it's around 11 a.m. London. I will be making another video later on today to update the viewers on the non-farm payroll data in the US and also the market's reaction. Right now I want to cover the UK economy, and we've had some really negative economic data come out this morning. I'll go over through them right now. So we had the Halifax house price index. The year-on-year number came out at 2.6%. You might say, well, that's not bad, but it was expected 3.1, so it disappointed the markets. Markets always trade on expectations, and if the data come out below expectations, markets don't like that, and vice versa. Month on month, the Halifax house price index for June, the month of June, that came out at minus 1%, and it was expected up 0.2%. Construction output for May in the UK was minus 1.2%. It was expected up 0.7%. Previous month was down 1.1%. And why is that important? Well, the UK economy is heavily dependent on credit, on the housing market, on construction. And I know there's an old saying that goes like this: don't let a month's number, be the, be the image of what you are looking at. We need more data, of course, but these numbers on their own are pretty bad so far. We also had industrial production and manufacturing production. And I know industrial production, manufacturing is not a big part of the economy as it used to be, but it is still an important indicator. Industrial production for May, month on month, dropped by 0.1, was expected up 0.4. Year on year was expected to be up 0.2, and it dropped 0.2. Manufacturing production down 0.2 month on month, was expected up 0.5. And on the year was up 0.4, is expected 1%. So these numbers are really horrific. And also the trade balance for the UK, the trade deficit for May was 11.86 billion pounds, was expected 10.8 billion. That means the GDP numbers for the second quarter are going to be probably revised down a bit, because trade balance is part of the GDP equation. So some really weak numbers, and what that has done is hit the British pound. Right now the pound is at 129.09, down 62 pips, or down 0.5%. And there's an old saying back in the 70s that the UK was the sick man of Europe. High inflation, high unemployment. I think they had to call the IMF in to bail out the government in the late 70s. And recently, in the last few years, the European Union has made the UK look good because of their problems with the euro and the government bond sovereign debt crisis in 2010, 2011, 12. And the UK has escaped that, not because of the strength of our economy, but the fact that we've still had control of our currency, and we've been able to basically totally trash the pound. Back in 07, 08, the high in the pound was $2.11. As I speak right now, we're at 129. The pound was worth €1.60. Right now, let's see. The pound, the pound is about 112, 113 to the euro. Let me have a look here, because I've got it the other way around. GBP EUR. So GBP EUR, yeah, right now it's 113. So we could buy €1.60 about 8-9 years ago. We can only buy 113, and there's been all this talk that the UK's done well. The GDP has grown while Europe is in recession. but they never talk about how we did that. We've done that by basically indebting our country, our nation, even more. We're supposed to, as a government, have had a balanced budget by 2015, and we haven't. Now I don't think that the new government is even looking to balance it by 2020. So we're running huge deficits, and what that does is artificially inflate the GDP number. So let's say GDP comes out at 2% year on year, but if the government has a 2% deficit in that year, 2% of GDP deficit, that means that if the government hadn't spent, more, this 2% more of GDP and created the deficit, real GDP without the government would have been zero GDP growth. So that's how we've kind of fooled ourselves these last, since the, and I'm not blaming the Tories. The Labour Party left a mess as well in 2010. But the Tories haven't done anything. They haven't really cut. There hasn't been any austerity. And I've said this many times. Chancellor Osborne, he didn't cut things. He just cut the rate of growth, because usually budgets are, planned in advance, and they lock in, increases in government spending. And all that Osborne did was lower the rate of growth of government that was, created by Gordon Brown as Chancellor, and also Alistair Darling in the last few years of the Labour government. So, the national debt is more than doubled since 2010, when the Conservatives came into power. So they haven't really done anything. And the only reason we've been able to keep it going is that we have an independent central bank, an independent currency that we can trash. We've been printing money out of thin air to the Bank of England's heart's desire. They've kept rates at zero, and they've thrown everything at it, and we still can't show any strength, and we can't even balance the budget. So I think this is starting to show up here, that the UK economy was just running on massive debt. And the same thing has happened to consumers. They've been lured again into taking loads of debt, not only housing this time again, but also in the auto or car loans. There's an article last week in the Daily Mail about how young people are being, encouraged to take car loans of up to £20,000, even if they're unemployed. It's just a big mess. And the government as well is in a big financial hole. That's what I wanted to talk about. And believe me, whatever the UK economy is doing is also what the US economy will probably be doing. The US economy is slowing down. It's interesting that a few weeks ago, the last Bank of England meeting, 3 of the members of the MPC voted to raise interest rates. And there's been this talk in the last few weeks by central bankers that they're going to unwind all the money printing, QE, and the low interest rate monetary policy. But good luck with that, Mr. Carney from the Bank of England. With the way the UK economy is doing, you're going to have some, your work cut out. So I'm not trying to criticize the UK economy. I'm just giving the facts. I live here, but in the end of the day, this country is heavily indebted. If you add all the liabilities and debts, I think we've got 900% of GDP in debt. And all that means is that we've consumed the future, our children's future, and someone's going to have to pay that. And we're going to have to talk more about saving and being more austere. The talk about austerity the last few years is just plain rubbish. So, we'll have to see how things go. The pound now just testing 129. Gold and silver this morning. Gold is at 1222 roughly, down about 3. Silver, of course, had that smackdown down to 1432. We're now back up to 1587, still down 1%. So I'll talk to you later in the afternoon. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share it far and wide, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Watch me on steemit.com as well, steemit.com, and you can follow me there. And if you also like to donate to my channel, there's some links below in the description. I accept Bitcoin, Patreon, PayPal, and also Ethereum. I'll talk to you later. Bye.